Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we are back with the Black Square TBM 850, probably one of the best general aviation aircrafts in the simulator today, if not the best in my personal opinion. It is a pretty phenomenal freaking aircraft, and today we are taking it from San Diego, California down to Los Angeles, about 120 miles, shouldn't be much more than about an hour of flight time, give or take, and we will also be talking about quite a few cool things that are coming to the channel, so stick around guys. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining us on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future releases that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below. All right, first up, guys, I want to talk about the TBM 850 tutorial guide that I will be using today. This is a guide that I created that has absolutely everything that you guys need in order to fly this aircraft, including all the flight information that is included with the guide if you want to fly it step by step, destination to destination. Literally everything you need is contained within this guide, as well as all of my flight guides are just like this. So if you guys support me out on Patreon, $10 or more a month, and it gives you access to all of my guides, not just one at a time. So if you guys are interested in helping me out, supporting the channel, this is a great way to do it while you get something out of it. We also have another guide that is currently in the works, and it rhymes with Fearjet. Yeah. Anyway, let's keep going. All right, my friends. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to open the doors. Make sure it doesn't get too hot inside the cockpit. This aircraft actually does matter. You do want to pay attention to outside air temperature and inside air temperature, as we don't want the avionics getting too hot. Go ahead and pop the passenger door open. And there she goes. All right. So now we will go ahead and fuel her. Let's bring up our flight plan here and see what we got going on. Only 709 on the block fuel today. Let's get her loaded up here. So fuel, we're at 916. We can actually take some out, lighten her up a bit. Let's go 720. I don't worry about making it match exactly. That just seems to be more of a pain in the butt than it's worth. Let's see what the payload looks like. Payload 872 pounds. So we're definitely going to be adding some weight in there. 876, we'll take it. Let's watch that center of gravity. Let's pull it forward just a little bit. Balance out our luggage here. All right. Let's get in the aircraft and get her going. So the first thing we're going to do is walk through our pre-flight checklist. So let's bring our guide back up here. And let's see what we got here. So let me zip on down to the right chapter. And there we go, the pre-flight. All right, coming upstairs, we're going to make sure the crash bar is down. Source selector obviously should be off, as well as the generator should be set to main, but you can't do that with the crash bar down. And actually, excuse me, helps if I read that right. It's crash bar up. Then we're going to set generator off to main. Starter should be in the off position. Ignition needs to be in auto or off, but if you're going to be doing exterior checks, you should probably set it to off just in case there's any kind of failure. You don't want that blade starting to turn while someone's standing in front of it. Exterior lights should all be off. Gyros are all off. Emergency lights, let's go ahead and give them a test. And to do that, we're going to come over here to the top, find a little rotary, this guy right here, and we're going to roll them forward. Make sure the lights come on. They do indeed. Roll it back. Circuit breakers, let's make sure all of our circuit breakers are in this aircraft. Like I said, you do have failures. It has bitten me before, so make sure you actually do check before you fly. And we're just doing a quick touch to verify. And everything looks good. All right, let's return to our cockpit position. All right, and now let's come on down to the instrument panel here. We want to make sure all of our anti-ice switches are off, including the inertial separator. We want to make sure the gill handle is down. Autopilot and trim systems are turned off. Radio master is off. Air conditioning systems come right over here. Let's get rid of that yoke. There's our AC system. You want to make sure that's set in the off position as well. And the ram air is pushed in. And where was I? Lost my spot. Fuel selector. Let's come on up to the top. Fuel selector right here. You want to make sure that's in manual and fuel boost pumps are turned off. Fuel selector. So fuel selector, you're going to actually find it back behind the throttle box or throttle stack. And that is going to be the fullest tank, but in our case, we are equally balanced, so it doesn't really matter which one we set to. Now, we're going to make sure that the moored or manual override, let's go ahead and pick up a little bit so we can see that a little bit better. There we go. There's the moored or manual override. You want to make sure that is in the aft position or off. Power lever, you want to make sure that's in idle. Make sure you're not in reverse thrust or reverse prop, I should say. And propeller pitch, we want to set that to the max RPM, and your condition lever should be at cutoff. All right, and let me make sure. There we go. Yep. Make sure those are working. And also make sure that your flap lever is not in 850 mode. Okay, and the flaps are up. Let's go ahead and keep moving down. Let's do a little bit of the pre-flight checks here. So we're going to come back up top. We're going to set our source selector to the battery. Make sure that we have right around 25.5 volts. You're not usually going to have anything more than that. Exterior lights, you can do this a couple of different ways. Really what you want to do is just flip them all on at this point. You could verify. These are the three that are critical. Okay, you have to verify that these are actually blinking and illuminating. They're going to flash like that because the pulse lights are on. If you turn the pulse lights off, they should remain steady. Okay, but what I would normally do if I was flying a real thing is I would flip them all on and then do a walk around outside. So we'll go ahead and set all of our lights back to the off position. Again, fuel quantity, you're going to verify that here. Advisory panel. So we're going to test buses 1 and 2. So here is test 1. And let's test bus 2. Always clear master cautions and master warnings as they appear. That way, if you get a new master caution, master warning, you are alerted and you're not just used to seeing the lights blinking. And again, remember this aircraft does have failures. All right, and you want to make sure that there is no oxygen light that is illuminating here, indicating that the aircraft doesn't have enough oxygen on board, or that there is a failure in the oxygen system. Internal lights would be set as required. Environmental control panel. We're going to do a fault test, so we're just going to click that button right there, and you can't really see it because of the way the sun is right now. But this light right here, where it says ECS fault, is illuminating when you depress that button. And finally, now we're going to go flaps down. So we're going to send those all the way down to the bottom, and we're going to verify that the flaps are in fact going down. Here's your flap gauge, and if you wanted to, you could go to the exterior and verify they were down. But we're going to go ahead and trust our gauges today. Pitot heat. We're going to do Pitot 1, and we're going to be monitoring the advisory panel. So there's Pitot 1, looking good. Pitot 2, stall heater, both verified. Turn those off. And once again, clear master caution. All right, and lights test on the de-icing panel. And again, you probably won't be able to see it very well because of the sun, but you depress the lights test button, and all those green lights are illuminating. Let's go ahead and get a little closer so we can see that. Even I had trouble seeing that one. I saw the other one, but I didn't see these. Okay, I do see them illuminating, just barely. But I can see the glow coming up. All right, and let's see where we're at here. And let's go back up stop. And battery or source selector to off. All right, now let's close the aircraft and button it up and get ready to start her up. So we verified our engine cowlings are closed, luggage door is closed. Let's go ahead and go to the back and close the passenger door. Look at that beautiful overkill embroidery. I just like to show that off every time we see it. Move forward just a little bit so I can get to the door. And, oh, wait, nope. There we go. Now we can grab the door. And green for locked, red for not. So we want green. Yeah. I'm not sure why it wouldn't let me pressurize it like that. Can I grab it from here? I wonder if I don't think I can click through. Let's move back forward again. I didn't mean to click it that second time. Ah, come on. Where are you? There we go. All right. Got it this time. All right. Green for clear. Moving forward. All right. And let's... So we're at 60 degrees. weather's perfectly fine, we can go ahead and close the cockpit door. If you start seeing this in the 80s or especially in the 90s range, I recommend leaving the door open until you get the engine started. And then immediately you would bypass part of the checklist and you get that AC rolling and get the aircraft cooled down. But we're perfectly fine today. Let's make sure we're green over here. We are indeed. All right. And let's get on with the engine start. So, parking brake. We're going to make sure our parking brake is set. It is indeed. Oxygen pressure is sufficient for the flight. We do have more than enough there. Oxygen system, yes, gets turned on before engine start. It is triggered based on pressure of the aircraft. And let's see what we got here. Microphone switch. We're going to make sure that's in the norm position. That is going to be right here. Okay, so it's a guarded switch. As long as it's guarded and you see the white dot up there, that's actually the top of the switch head. So you're good to go there. Starter is off. We have verified that. Starter's off, ignition's off, landing gear handle is down. All right, crash bar is up, source selector's off, radio master we can turn on if you need to request clearance. So if you need to do your ATC actions, this would be a perfect time to do that. All right. And again, so if you had to do that, you would simply flip your radio master on and it will turn on whatever radio is on your COM1 station. It won't turn them all on. It'll just turn on COM1. Okay, and speaking of which, actually, you know what? I'm not going to touch those because I don't know if that bug still exists that breaks the GNS. I heard that it was fixed, but I don't want to play with fire here. All right, so let's go ahead and move on down. And now let's get into the before start checklist. So we are moving right along here. Again, everything that you guys are hearing is in the guide, and we're going through it step by step. Generator we're verifying is in main. Source selector goes to the battery position. Horn test. You guys can barely hear this, so let's clear those master cautions. You can barely hear this, so bear with me. There we go. We did hear it. Advisory panels. Make sure that the door light is extinguished, indicating that the doors are sealed. Fuel selector goes to the auto position. That's this guy right over here. Auxiliary boost pumps go to the on position. Fuel quantity checked and verified. Clear master caution. Fuel pressure. We do have fuel pressure. Fuel pressure is sufficient with the boost pumps on. ITT test. We're going to come right down here and we're going to monitor this gauge and make sure that it peaks. Looks good. Release. Clear master warning. All right. And in replacement of a beacon light, we're going to turn the nav lights and the strobe lights on, letting everyone know, hey, the aircraft's getting ready to start. Get away from my propeller. And run through some previous checks here just to double check everything. The moored, once again, is in the off position. Source selector is set to battery. Auxiliary boost pumps are set to on. Starter is now in the on position. Oh, excuse me. Skip. Ignition to auto or on. And starter to the on position. There we go. Monitoring our NG. Let's clear that master caution. Monitoring the NG, looking for 13%. I just monitor this guy right here. Hand on the condition lever. 13%, low idle. Let's get some fuel going to that engine. Master caution cleared. Monitoring our temperatures. We don't want to be above 870 degrees for more than 20 seconds, and we don't want to be over 1,000 degrees for more than 5 seconds. Either one of those conditions occur, we would send our condition lever back to the cutoff position. 53%. And condition lever goes to high idle. And the starter can now be turned off. Ignition, auto if you were in the on position. So ignition to auto, advisory panel. Make sure oil pressure light is extinguished. It is indeed. Engine temp, oil temp, all looking good. All engine parameters looking steady. Auxiliary boost pump now goes up into the auto position. Fuel pressure light is extinguished. Main gen is extinguished. Auxiliary boost pump on is extinguished. Voltmeter, make sure we're at 26 amps or above and that we are showing a charge. Master warning, master cautions are cleared. Coming upstairs, go to our gyro instruments. All gyro instruments come to the on position. Gyro slave selector, make sure it's set to slave. De-ice. We're going to go ahead and cycle each of these and make sure they turn on. So right windshield. Left windshield. Prop ice. And on the airframe de-ice, we'll see it cycle from one side to the other. Wait for those boots to expand. We should see a light here in just a second. We'll monitor it for just a minute. And if we don't get anything, we may have a failure. Just in case we do have a failure, we're going to take our weather radar. We're going to put it in the nav position. And it looks like we might have a failure. Cycle it one more time. Let's go down and check our circuit breaker one more time. And let's look for our de-icing. Airframe de-ice. Looks good. All right. Let's move on over to our failures. Let's go to reset all failures and see if we get it now. You know what I just thought about? Is that because my bleed air is off? Stand by. Yes, it was. Didn't even think about that. Alright, so I'm going to actually have to make adjustment to that. Did I miss something there? Hang on a second. Yes, I did. Bleed air. I missed that, setting that to auto. So there was no failure. I missed a piece in the checklist. Alright, cool. Well, it's good to know. Alright, so how the airframe works is it actually takes bleed air from the engine, so hot air from the engine, and it basically pumps it into the boots, heating the boots, causing them to expand, knocking any edge off the leading edge of the wing. And so obviously, because I had my bleed air off, that wasn't going to work. And I actually missed a couple things. Did I skip a whole page? I think I did. Interesting. I did skip a whole page. That's what happened. I scrolled too fast. Alright, so let's get back on this for a second. Alright, so flaps now need to go into the up position. Oh, and I went too far. I put it in 850 mode. So flaps go to the up position. Air conditioning now goes to the on. Fan flow goes to auto. There we go. Now we're caught up. And let's see here. Cabin air temp. We'll leave it right about where it is. I'm perfectly fine with the current temperature. Air distributor, yep, is normal. And weather radar to standby or off. Alright, we're caught up now. I rolled past an entire page. Alright, now let's continue on. FS Master goes to the on position. Oh, let's turn that airframe de-ice off. And let's see here. Radio Master back to the on position. FS Composite or Composite Test is that guy right there. Although it does run one when you first boot it up, but we'll press the test light again. FS Selector, we want to make sure it's set to the left side, and that's this guy right here. There it is, right there. FS and AHRS. And electric trim, you guys can test it if you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and use my trim hat. There we go. It is working indeed. And we just want to make sure we're in the green for takeoff. And finally, autopilot and trim systems on. Alright, set your audio panels as desired. There we go. Let's go ahead and set our transponder to on. Altimeters are set. And now we are ready to enter in our flight plans. Let's go ahead and do that real fast. Now I do have the Flight Sim Builder GNS 530, but today we'll be using the cheat way here. Let me get our route up, pulled up on my screen. Very, very short route today. So, flight plan. And we are coming out of Ksan. And we are going to LAX. Whoa, what happened there? Let's try that again, shall we? There we go. What is... Oh, I know what it's doing. Hang on a second. Yes. And yes. Things like that is where that GNS 530 from Flight Sim Builder really comes in handy. It's really nice. Alright, and all we have here today is we do have a departure. And that one right there. And we are departing from runway 27. In our transition. There we go. And load. And then we are flying direct to LAX, coming in on runway 24 right. So we will go ahead and load the approach. Honestly, I could use a visual. We are on the wrong runway. Stand by. Oops. Aye. Trying to remember how to activate the other airport. This one always gets me. Select approach. Nope, still seeing that there's a way from here to tell it. I just don't remember what it is that we're on the wrong runway. Or wrong airport. I don't think you do it from... Well, let's go find out. You know what it tells me is my handy dandy guide. So give me just a second. Actually, did it select? There's LAX. Nope, it is still using... I wonder if I have to be airborne. Well, we'll get airborne and then we'll enter in the approach. That might be why. But that would be something that changed. Oh, I think I found it. See, it should be select approach. And then it should be... There it is. Select a destination airport, but it's not letting me pick it. I wonder if it's because we don't have a flight plan or an arrival. I wonder if it's because we're not using an arrival today. So, tell you what, we will focus on that when we get airborne. That's interesting. I've never seen it do this before. Huh. Learn something new every day. And I'm just going to back this one out just a little bit. There we go. Leave this one up on the legs page. All right. Either way, we have our flight plan entered, so we're ready to go. All right. Let's come on down here and see about before taxi. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at where we are in the aircraft. Yeah, I'm cheating. I don't feel like starting Navigraph. All right, we're going to taxi to the left and take off over there at 27. Okay, cool. All right, let's do this. So let's set our initial altitude. Come on, knock it off. We're going to climb out to 6,000. We're only going to about 11,000 today. Or it's 10,000, I think, because of the direction we're headed. So it should be a pretty easy flight. Again, it's only about 120 miles. All right, nav mode, both referencing GPS. Inertial separator now comes to the on position. And weather radar is on standby. Taxi light goes to the on. Pulse light stays off. Parking brake can be released. Let's get her going. We're going to have a night landing in LA. So we'll probably come in on the ILS. What do we have a master caution for? Oh, inertial separator. Okay. That is normal. Yeah, you gotta be real careful here. This one's got some weird scenery bugs. This is the default scenery, so I was a little paranoid taxiing through that one. That one's bit me before. It'll cause a damage to the aircraft and you'll have to start all over again. All that happy jazz. Alright, as we are sitting here, we're going to go ahead and set the parking brake. Should get a master warning. We do indeed. We'll do a quick run up. We're going to run the aircraft up to 1900 RPMs. Right about there. Feather the prop. Should see a drop about 400 to 500 RPMs. Back up to max. Should come back to 1900. Tap it forward just a little bit. See if we can't get that 1900. There we go. Come back. And one more time. Alright, looks good. Speed governor test. Should see a slight drop in RPM. And throttle's back to idle. Or throttle. Alright, looking great. We are now ready to go. So, fuel status, make sure we don't have any kind of imbalance. So above 15 gallons, everything looks good. Fuel selection is set to auto. Right here, auxiliary boost pumps are set to auto. Flaps, go ahead and set them to takeoff. There they go. Inertial separator. Should be on. Stand by. Yeah, inertial separator should be on at takeoff. That's interesting. I'm not sure why I have that. That's a typo too. Anyway, pitot, install heaters. Let's flip those to the on position. De-ice as required. Outside air temperature less than 10 degrees. Celsius, you'd want to put that on. Yep, inertial separator on. Yep, there we go. The next page even shows it on. All right, and let's go ahead and do our landing lights. And pulse lights can come on right now as well. Transponder needs to be set to altitude. Elevator trim is set. Parking brake released. Let's take the runway. Looks like we're going to have a pretty good crosswind. Turned a little wide there. Line up. Center the heading bug. Kick it left just a little bit. We're not quite centered. All right, and off we go. So what we're going to be doing here is, since from sea level to 8,000 feet, we're going to be using torque at 100%. RPM should be at 2,000. Rotation speed is going to be 85 knots always. We're going to climb at about 7.5 degrees, looking for 130 knots. So let's do this. Now, outside of 850 mode, your torque is going to be limited to 100%, but I recommend learning to get there with the throttle. Right about there. Takeoff power set, airspeed alive. And there's 85, rotating. Wheels up, watching runway heading. Passing 120 knots, coming up 120 knots. Let's get those flaps up. All right, after flaps are verified up, we are good to go. Let's switch into 800 or 850 mode, which no longer limits the torque. So now we're going to fly for 100 and about 19% is what I like to sit by. You can go all the way to just below the red line on the torque, but don't go over it. And then pitch up for 130 knots. Yaw damper on. Again, pitching for 130. Alright, wanted to give you guys a cool view there. We'll turn back on course now. And pitch back up for our altitude. Airspeed. Whoa, a little too far. Come back to the right a little bit. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and set some vertical speed. About 1,500 feet per minute to start with. Let's arm it. Swap back over. Oops. Disengage. Nav mode. Autopilot on. And then what I'll do is, now that we're about 135, we'll switch over immediately to airspeed. So now the aircraft will pitch to maintain. We're going to be flying about 130 knots, so a little less than optimal climbing speed, but certainly within reason. Now, as we continue to climb, we're going to be monitoring our engine torque and engine temperature. ITT is getting a little bit on the hot side. So we don't want our ITT exceeding 840 degrees. That's like the maximum. I normally keep it right about where it's at. I'll usually ride the green line here, but I won't go anything above that. So we can increase torque just a little bit. The higher you go, the more you're going to have to reduce your engine power. Alright, and we are at 6,000. Let's go ahead and increase to 10,000. Okay. Disengage altitude hold. I'm going to pull her up. Still monitoring our heading. We disengaged the autopilot there for a second. And autopilot's back in control. We're also clear of more than enough. So we'll turn the inertial separator off. Because the inertial separator is off, we need to watch our engine torque. It's going to increase. Watching that ITT as well. $1,000 to go. The radar can come on, but we don't really need it today. Nice pretty day. There we go. Alright, steady at 10,000. We're at our cruise altitude now, so now let's talk about some cruise settings here. So the nice thing is, for any altitude below 25,000 feet, your cruise torque setting is going to be right at the max, 121%. Again, I normally pull it back just a little bit before, because that's just flirting with those hot temperatures for me. Okay, and again, I have a nice chart and breakdown of how it works for the altitude. So above 25,000 feet, your torque will be right around 113%, and at 30,000 feet, you'll be right around 95%. And prop will always be at full prop. And again, I like to stay right about here on the torque. I just like to have a little bit of wiggle room, man. I've made it angry before. I've damaged the engine before in this aircraft already once, so I sort of try to behave. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set our VNAV up. This part, again, couldn't be any easier for this particular aircraft. There isn't really much to it. We'll address our ILS configuration here in just a second, so let's go ahead and go to VNAV, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set our target altitude, which is basically sea level. So we're going to set this down to 0, 0. And I'm going to set this, I think it is 20 feet if memory serves. And then we are going to, oh, I hit the wrong button. Oh, you know what, I just realized what it's doing. Alright, we'll use the old-fashioned thing here. I just realized it's messing with the left screen. Alright, so push the cursor there. And we want to come back, rotate that, go forward. Nope. Set that to 0, move forward. We'll set it to 30 feet just to be safe. Press enter. And we want to be at 30 feet. Well, actually, I guess that's not exactly true. See, the chart for LAX on the initial fix, I think, is 3,000 feet. Let's see if we can actually set the approach plate up first. I didn't even think about that. Let's try that first. Set our approach. It is still using San Diego. And it will not let me change the destination airport. What is going on here? Here's the departure, runway 27, K-San at KLAX. I wonder if it's because I'm using this screen. I wouldn't see why one thing would make a difference, but let's check it. Alright, let's try one more thing. Let's see if this is a bug. Because we should be able to do that. So I'm going to try something. We're going to put in a bogus arrival. If I go to arrival, you can see it says K-Sam, but if I come here, it still will not let me change the destination airport. What the hell is going on here? I don't claim to be an expert on the GNS 530, that's for sure. But I mean, there it is. Oh, I wonder. Hang on. No, that would just add another line. Can't clear the en route. I don't know why it won't let me select the approach. It is not identifying this as our destination airport. So here, I'll tell you what I'll do. We're going to clear that. Okay. Now we're going to come here to Sly. And we're going to roll here. KLAX. Los Angeles Airport. Oops, I just realized what I did. Other way around. Clear. Yes. Roll back down. And now let's do that again. And try that again. Alright, now if we go there. Select approach. There, now it gave it to me. Weird. But you know what? It took the en route thing off. So it saw that, it must have seen that as a waypoint. Anyway, got it figured out. So let's go back to our flight plan for today. I can't remember where we are flying to. 24 right. And we will do the ILS approach. And let's see here. I don't think we need... What's the initial fix? Now I have to get Navigraph up. Give me just a second here. I don't think we need to go all the way to Sivu in a TBM 930 or 850. Almost said it. Wow. Oh. Alright, and I'm just looking at the book real quick for LAX, looking at the approach, finding ILS for the 24 right. And there it is. And let's look at the approach plate here. So Sivu is there, but I really don't think we need to go all the way out to Sivu. Yeah, no. Let's use Livin. That's a good one. Yeah, we'll go to Livin. Sivu takes us way out. That's Let's say like if we're coming in from like Tucson, for example, or from the east and maybe like in a commercial aircraft, that puts us at 10,000 feet. Where live-in will put us at 6,000. All right, let's use that. There we go. That's probably still further out than we need to be, but it'll work. All right, so now we have our approach. So now we can come over here and get things set back up the way we had it. Gosh darn it. Change pages, darn it. Why am I not seeing what I'm expecting to see? Thank you. There it is. And where are we? 50 nautical miles? Let's bounce that out a little bit. And we're already coming up on Sly. So now let's go to our VNav. And now we can set it accordingly. So we're going to actually move forward, and we decide we're going to go for 6,000. Hit enter. Rotate forward, and we just need like 2 miles. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. Enter. Damn it. Roll down. And before living. There we go. And we want to descend at... I believe our descent rate optimal for this aircraft is... 2,000 feet per minute is what we're going to go for. And we are already almost there. There it goes. No. 9 minutes. So if we descended now, we would descend at 346 feet per minute. So we have about 9 minutes until we reach our top of descent. So really that's where we're sitting at, guys. Everything else is looking absolutely fantastic. All temperatures are in the green. Aircraft is functioning absolutely beautifully. So I will catch you guys as we are close to our descent point. So I'll see you in about 8 or 9 minutes. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and set up for our descent. Just got about 6 minutes where we can set the comms up. So let's see here, our localizer frequency on LA for 24 right, we're going to be looking at 108.5. Okay, let's get that to swap up there. Alright. Final approach course. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to come up. How much time do we have on this heading? About 4 miles. So I'm going to go into heading mode. Center the heading bug. Let's kick that over just a hair. There we go. Just to lock us in for a second. Because what I can do now is we're going to set our approach course. After I change the CDI. Localizer 1. And 251 degrees is going to be our final approach course. Okay, once we've done that, set your nav back to GPS, and we can go back into nav mode, let the computer take over again. Alright, so we're all set up for the ILS. We have our frequency active. We have our final approach course set. We are about 5 minutes from the top of descent, at which point we will bring the aircraft down, like I said, right around 2,000 feet per minute at right around 230 knots, so almost our current airspeed. So basically, we're just going to let the thing fall out of the sky is what's going to happen. We didn't worry about pressurizing the aircraft here today, just because we didn't particularly go high enough. Let's see where we are at. What are you doing? Oh, gosh darn it. I hate it when he does this. Slide to LAX. Oh, that's what it did. It entered it in twice. Why did you do that? What the crap? Alright, so let's go direct. And what we are going to do is put in living. Activate. Alright, since that changed things up a little bit, I'm actually going to... I did type that incorrectly, right? L-I-V-V-N, yes. Alright, we're going to start our descent now. So I'm going to set our target altitude. We're going to set it down to 2,000 feet, which is the escape altitude if we need to do a go-around. And then we're going to depress it. And we're going to set our descent rate down to 2,000 feet per minute and let the games begin. I'm going to re-verify our barometric pressure now that we're over LA. Watching our airspeed not to exceed 230 knots. You could ride all the way down to the hotline, but I don't want to go that fast. And plus, we're going to be under restriction now that we're under 10,000 feet. So, we are 10 miles away, so we should have plenty of time to get in where we need to be. Since we're coming down, I'm going to go ahead and take us out of 850 mode. Making sure our torque is below 100%. All landing lights and everything is still on because we never exceeded 10,000. And let's see, what are we supposed to be at next? After there, we're going to be at 5,000. So we are already approaching 5,000. So I'm going to go into heading mode. And yep, I actually do want her to turn in that direction. And you know what? I think I'm actually going to lock us at 5,000 for now. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Oh, gosh darn it. Would you stupid mouse button, knock it off. There we go. Alright, and now we're going to go to our procedures. Activate approach. And actually, I think what I'm going to do here is just go to the localizer, which I am passing, by the way. And let's go back into nav. I don't know if it's going to capture it. I sort of screwed that one up. Nope, I didn't. It can't capture that. Let's turn around. Turn. And we're going to set our altitude now down to 2,000. Start pulling power off. Start the descent, 1,000 feet per minute. Flaps to take off. Keep that heading mode turning. We blew the approach on this one. I got too close. It happens, right? Altitude's still looking good, though. Alright, altimeters are set, decision height was set, and let's see here, fuel quantity imbalance verified, no 15-gallon difference, de-icing as required. Let's go ahead and turn the initial separator on for landing. And we should be able to intercept it now. Yes, it can. Cool. Alright, RPM lever is max. Landing gear, let's go ahead and bring it down. Taxi lights, landing lights are down. Initial separator is now open. Approach mode. Localizer locked. We are below the glide slope, which is good. Alright, so we have intercepted the glide slope. Now I'm going to pull the power off. Flaps are going to go to full. And we're going to be looking for 85 knots on the approach. Re-verifying barometric pressure. Oop, got a little slow. Sorry, the cats are distracting me. Psst, come on. Alright, let's fly her in the rest of the way. Autopilot off, yaw damper off, flight directors remain on. My aircraft. A little bit above the glide slope there. There we go. Oh, what was that? What is happening here? Stop, stop, stop it. What was that? Getting kicked around there for a minute and then all of a sudden just smooth right back out. Well, actually, I guess not. I guess we're still a little bumpy. Oh, I probably should have. I could have made that first cut off. Oops. There we go. All right, flaps up. We'll wait until we're completely clear of the runway. All right, and hang tight here between the two. Let's get those landing lights off, pulse lights off. Probably shouldn't have had the pulse lights on for landing, but oh well. All right, let's go find a place to park. All right. Parking in a completely inconspicuous location that doesn't look shady at all. All right, let's set that parking brake and let's see what we got to do to shut this thing down today. All right, so parking brake is set. Annunciator verifies the parking brake. Master warning can be cleared. Taxi lights can now be turned off. Nav and strobe lights are off. Bleed air can be turned off. Cabin pressure is depressurized. Air conditioning system now goes to the off position. Fan flow can go back to the low position. Power lever needs to be remaining at idle for at least 1 minute. Gyros can be off. FS master can go to the off position. And we'll call that 1 minute. Let's see here. Autopilot trims. Well, let's walk through this. Autopilot trim system. Radio master. Propeller, we're going to feather it for 15 seconds. Condition lever can now go to cutoff. All right. So, condition levers. Sorry, the kids ran in here. Let's clear those. Condition lever is off. Auxiliary boost pump goes to off. Fuel selector returns to the manual position. Tank selector can now go to the off position as well. Sometimes this one can be a little bit tricky to grab, so I don't always worry about it. And yeah, I'm not going to fight with it today. All external lights should be in the off position. Ignition should go to off. Source selector goes to off. And generator can stay on main, but when you put the crash bar down, it's going to set it to the off position anyway. So you might as well do so then. And at this point, we can now exit the aircraft. And I want to thank you all very, very much for flying with me today. This was a lot of fun. I absolutely love this aircraft. I do think this is my most enjoyable aircraft in the simulator today. It's just, there's something that is just absolutely great about it. I love this plane. There's plenty of fantastic aircraft in the simulator, but there's something about the TBM 850 that I could fly it forever. As always, folks, stay safe and healthy, and I shall see you all in the next one. Take care.